Welcome back to the Fourth and Gold NFL podcast. The regular season is over. The new season begins this weekend, Super Wildcard weekend. And I don't think we've had a playoff, at least since I can remember, that is more unpredictable than this one. This is wide open. Before we get to the playoffs, there's been a lot of movement in the head coaching world this week. You know, we've seen some that we expected and maybe some that we did not. I guess where I want to start though is probably the job I think that is going to be most coveted, and it affects your team going forward. I think it is, of course, the Ravens parting ways with John Harbaugh. What are your initial thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so you see the classic memes. You've seen the meme about like if the field goal makes it, then yeah, Tomlin's gone, and field goal doesn't, then Harbaugh's gone. I don't know how accurate that is,
Yeah.
but big picture, this is crazy. This is 18 years that they have been together. So, and they've been right there for on so many occasions. They've won a Super Bowl and they've been the number one seed, and they've had Lamar Jackson as the MVP of the league, and they've had everything that you could possibly ask for to win a Super Bowl. So this would be, they're taking a shot essentially. So they're trying something, and I respect that. I really do respect it that, you know, 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago when they were the number one seed, they went into San Francisco in prime time. Do you remember that game? And they completely crushed the 49ers, who were a very good team themselves that year. And you thought, wow, this is the Super Bowl winner. It's got to be like the way that they were playing. But too often with the Ravens, at least recently, they were a high-flying regular season team, crushing teams in the regular season. I still remember that game in Miami where they put up 50 on the Dolphins. Yeah, that was the tanking Dolphins, but regular season high flyer, high seed in the playoffs, and then didn't get it done in the playoffs. Is that the coach or is that the quarterback, or we don't know. I heard he's 8-4 in the playoffs before Lamar Jackson, and he's 3-6 with Lamar Jackson. So is it him or is it the quarterback? But there was only ever going to be one winner in that conversation. They are tied contractually to Lamar Jackson. Well, I've heard they can get out of it this year, but they're not getting out of it now.
They can't get out of it this year. There's no way that they would. It'd be insane to take that much dead cap and lose a player of this caliber.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to see what the Ravens do, because this is a franchise that drafts for the most part really well. Not fantastically in the last couple of years, but overall they draft really well. They're pretty loyal to their players. They're a draft and develop franchise. They're loyal to their head coaches, and I can only ever remember the Ravens since they became the Ravens having two head coaches. Billick, who was a Super Bowl winning head coach, and now Harbaugh. So we don't know if there was a falling out. We just don't know. You hear, oh, they wanted him to get rid of the OC and he didn't want to, or we really don't know, or there was a power struggle with Lamar Jackson. We just don't know. This will probably get out when he ends up in his next destination. And I just think it's going to be really, really interesting in the direction that they choose to go, because when there was talk of them getting rid of the head coach, I thought it was crazy. But they're taking a shot. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And they've seen this movie. Like I said, 2 years ago, that was probably the time. That was probably their best chance, but they've had multiple chances. So we're going to find out if Lamar Jackson can get it done in the playoffs with a different head coach, possibly a different offensive coordinator. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see. But my first reaction, selfishly, was yeah, I'm pleased because it might weaken the Ravens, but it might take them to the promised land if they do something different. So they're going to be doing something different, and let's see where they go.
Yeah. My first thought, and I said this to you on the day, my first thought was they're 1 year too late to take this shot. Because if they really, I don't think it's crazy to say that they could have fired him last year. Because it's not a gross firing, it's we're taking a shot, like you said. The time to take that shot was last year when
Yeah.
you had Ben Johnson, when you had Liam Cohen. This year, I don't see the same caliber of head coach potential. Now, Mike McDaniel was fired today, and we know he's an offensive wizard, but is he a leader for a strong franchise like the Ravens? That would be my question on him. And if you look around, you're going to be basically hiring a very junior offensive coordinator if you go the offensive route. So it almost makes me think they might actually go ahead and hire a defensive coach. And we've seen that they have already interviewed Vance Joseph. I feel like if they do go the defensive route, there is one clear candidate that does, to me, fit who they are, and it would be Brian Flores. And I think that would be a bit scary for you as a Steelers fan with a rejuvenated Baltimore defense. Now, the problem for the Ravens is they're going to have to pick a lane, and it's only going to hopefully improve one side of the ball.
Yeah.
But whatever they choose, I think there's going to be consequences on the other side. Whether they go the defensive route, who's going to be the offensive coordinator now for Lamar? The irony of you saying that reports say Lamar wanted Monken gone. Monken's kind of got the best out of Lamar, certainly in the passing game. And then if they go the offensive route, they've got a big problem on defense. So they're taking a shot. I don't know if they'll improve next year, though.
Yeah, I think I did say to you at the start of this season that the Ravens did feel like a Super Bowl or bust kind of team, just because of the salary cap decisions and problems that they have on deck. So overall, they've got quite a few contracts that are coming up, and maybe they've just taken the decision that we don't want Harbaugh around for this. Could be a little bit of a project. It could take 2 to 3 years to get back to where they were. And yeah, it's crazy, but they at least have changed their potential outlook. We knew that. I think that was, as you said, that was their time. That was their time with this head coach. So head coach, probably the coordinators, and we'll see. They're going to draft pretty well. They're the Ravens. They'll be fine. I'm just really interested to see what choice they do make.
Exactly. It's really intriguing. And I think with the cap situation, the way that they're going to get Lamar's cap number under control is renewing him. Like they're going to have to give him a new contract. It's the only way out of this. And it's not the worst decision because this is still one of the great quarterbacks that we have in the league. Let's see how long the contract extension will be, of course. But I would like to have this problem, if Lamar Jackson was my quarterback, whether or not we're extending him or not. And we've both seen the limitations of not having that great quarterback.
Yeah, look, it has to be something big for the Ravens to make this choice. You have to think this is not the Raiders or the Giants. This is the Baltimore Ravens. Like, they are many people's preseason Super Bowl favorites year after year. So for them to make this choice, wow. Okay, let's see where they go. They don't make that many wrong decisions overall as a franchise. So we can only speculate about why they've made the decision, but now it's what decision do they make?
Yeah. Are there any other jobs that you look at that are available that you think, yeah, that's a great spot to go and just take the team that's already there and, make a competitive team? Because, you're looking at the Raiders, for example. I know you're getting the number one pick, but there's a lot of work to do there to turn them into a winner. But are there any other teams, would you say, that you look at the roster and say, with some up coaching, this team can make some noise at least?
The Falcons, you could say, they have a big question at quarterback, but this is a team that beat the Bills and the Rams and then can go and lose to the Saints and get crushed by the Dolphins. They're a complex team, the Falcons. So if they can just get the quarterback situation right, yes, they don't have a first round pick this year, but the ownership, at least lately, they've taken gambles on. So they've taken shots. The roster's pretty good. The Falcons. So if they could just get the coaching situation right, I think the Falcons, and they're in a weak division.
Just to that point, the defense just needs a bit more filling out. Like that, it's like we were saying earlier in the season. All they can do is rush the passer. Okay, I mean that's a good aspect. If they can use this next year to fill that out, it will become a better defense. And as you said, the all-important question is what are they going to do at quarterback? Because from what we've seen, they don't have the answer right now.
Yeah. So they restructured Cousins. So Cousins is expected to be cut in March.
Yep.
So they're off the hook for Cousins. The Raiders, they've got the first overall pick, but they've got a really weak roster, and they've got, as well, for a new head coach, they've got Tom Brady like lurking in the background. Like, how involved is he? I don't know. I'd want a piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they pay well. You talk paying 5 head coaches, which is crazy. They're still paying Josh McDaniel like 10 million a year, and Gruden's still books for 10 million a year. Don't know how that's worked out, but
they've ended the season with an unhappy Max Crosby though, so that's another situation to watch with them.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. The big picture, like, they got mission success. They got the first overall pick, so he'll be okay. He's been renewed. He'll be fine. Other head coaching vacancies, like the Giants, apparently they've got the quarterback, to be determined, but at least on paper they think they've got a quarterback, and they've got a lot of players who seem to be talented, don't always produce it, but at least if you see the names on the roster, you go, okay, they've got some guys. Neighbors, quarterback, some guys on defense. We'll see.
Scatterboo.
Yeah, got to deal with the New York sports media, but
I think the one that is intriguing, like, I'm not saying it's a good, or I don't know if it's a good or a bad situation, is Miami now. Because I think there's a lot of dead cap they're dealing with because of the previous GM. And
Yeah,
of course, the question is, what are ownership going to want to do with Tua? Like McDaniel benched him, but we need to see what direction ownership want to go because I feel like they've been quite hard headed with this situation. You know, they've already doubled down once. They're not, are they going to triple down or is he really gone? And then, of course, the question is if he is gone, that is a horrendous contract to be trying to get rid of. Like I said earlier in the season, I think to get rid of Tua, they're going to have to pay a draft pick to a team to take it.
I don't think Miami's an appealing job vacancy. Just I think you would only go to Miami because you wanted to what you wanted to live in Miami. Honestly, the roster's okay, but not great. You've got Tyreek Hill situation, you've got Tua situation, so you're gonna have problems with the salary cap, and then
Tyreek Hill, they can get out of like quite easily. I think he's basically at the lower end of dead cap. But as I said, it's that Tua contract. You can't just cut him or straight trade him. You're going to have to like get on your knees to get a team to take some of this some of this cap off you. And I just don't see a team paying for Tua. I think they're going to have to pay a team to take Tua.
yeah, the Cardinals have Kyler Murray to deal with, and the Browns still have Watson. So yeah, there's a common theme. There's really expensive quarterbacks being left behind. The quarterbacks outlast the head coaches, so the warning is just be very, very sure when you're signing this contract. The Miami one I think, is not crazy because it was expected, but if you don't do it at the same time, I don't know what you're doing. Like, is that because the general manager's come in and said I can't work with McDaniel, or they more likely that they have their eye on a head coach?
And that'll be interesting because I almost think that the players really played hard for him at the end. So I felt like he had the locker room at least. But we'll see which direction they go in. To one of your points just then, be very sure. And I'm looking at you, Bobby Salah. I don't want to see you get dragged again like you did at the Jets. Don't take one of these bottom barrel jobs like the Cardinals because you're not going to be successful there. That's all I'm going to say.
But he's always got his safety net of coming back as DC to got a DC job for life, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
And Mike McDaniel, like if he doesn't find a head coaching job, we'll welcome him back with open arms, get the band back together.
yeah, I think McDaniel will be a head coach pretty soon. I
The
think,
Browns apparently are interested.
yeah,
Will he be interested in the Browns?
yeah. I don't see that. You don't really see Cleveland kind of head coach really, but that's just he could surprise us, and he could be a cold weather coach, but I don't know.
Last one. If you're John Harbaugh, where do you want to go?
Um, I don't know what motivates him, honestly. If it's money or is it winning championships? Where
Let's say it's winning.
if it's winning, then the Giants, maybe the Giants or the Falcons.
The Giants is where he's favoured to go. Because the thing with him is he's not a play caller. Like he's, his line of specialty was special teams, right?
Yeah,
So wherever he goes, he's gonna. Well, maybe he'll bring Monken with him, but he'll need an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. So it's not like your current modern day coach, where it's these young offensive minds where they walk in and they're calling the plays and they're hiring someone else to handle the defense. Like he will need two hires.
Yeah, I think he will have the pick of where he wants to go. So I don't know. What do you think? The Giants or the Falcons to me would be the obvious places to go.
I would So outside of the Ravens, I do think the best job is the Falcons because, yeah, okay, the quarterback situation is murky to say the least. But I look at the players that they've got on this team. If you can just fill out this roster a bit, Bijan's a superstar. Drake London, they've got their number one receiver. Mooney, okay, he's tailed off, but he's a good third option. And you still got Pitts. Pitts showed a lot this year, I think, a lot more than he has shown. And you've got a pass rush. So, you know, I think that's the roster that I feel is if you get a good head coach and make a few good acquisitions, and as you said, in a weak division, that's the place where you can be successful, I think.
Yeah, yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, like you said, good O line,
Mm.
pass rush. They've got some corners.
Mm.
They've got Jesse Bates at safety. They've got they've got a lot of things going for them, the Falcons. So say they hit on a quarterback, they could easily win this division. I mean, they finished tied for this division, and the Panthers aren't scaring you. The Saints, Tyler Shuck, I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't be worried about the Saints. And the Bucks just let the OC go. So the Bucks are going to start again with another OC for Baker, and the head coach is going to stay. So I wouldn't. I'm not worried. I'm not scared of anybody in that division.
No.
So I think it would be a good choice for Harbaugh to go to Atlanta, but I think he will go to the Giants.
Mm. Now, yeah, and that is the more challenging position, I think.
But the Giants, you just probably just got to get the guys all in a room and just teach them how to be competitive and let's do things in the right way. And the Giants, the Giants could have the most dramatic year on year, I think, change in record.
Yeah. And speaking of record, I saw a stat this week where it said the Giants are 8-30 in their last 38 games, and four of those eight wins have come in the final 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, the Giants. I think the Giants is a good job.
Yeah.
In what's out there, really. Yeah, the Giants.
It's like Titans, I still think that's a bad job. Even though they've got a promising quarterback, like that's a multi-year project. You're not going to be, I know we're talking early, but Titans realistically aren't looking at more than 6 or 7 wins next year at the most. There's a lot that has to happen. So anyway, we will get to more of the off season when the off season is here. The playoffs. The playoffs begin this week. I love wildcard weekend. It's the start of something exciting, the start of a run to the Super Bowl. We made a preseason prediction, as we always do, for the Super Bowl, Paul. We both actually had the same prediction that it would be Eagles versus Ravens. We've obviously seen that the Ravens haven't made it to the playoffs. So I'm going to pose the question to you. Who are you now taking out of the AFC? If you had to pick today, I know it's a journey, but if you had to pick today, who are you taking from the AFC to make the Super Bowl?
The Texans. I take the Texans. It's close between them and the Jaguars, but I don't want to overreact too much to the Jags being on an 8-game winning streak. The Texans have the best unit, I think, in the whole of the AFC. The Texans defense is the best squad there. And CJ Stroud can get hot in the playoffs. He has played well in the playoffs. You know, the first half in Kansas City before, yeah, okay, they came back and they were, but that was when the Chiefs were really rolling. Um, that game against the Browns when the Browns had, you know, a top-ranked defense and they got crushed by the Texans. That game last year against the Chargers where he played really, really well. So yeah, I think the Texans could go on a bit of a run. I wouldn't be worried about them going on the road. Yeah, I'll stick with the Texans. It's close between them and the Jags, but I'll take Houston.
Okay. I'm sure that you probably thought that I was also going to take the Texans. And for a long time in this second half of the season, I was taking the Texans. But I'm going to ride the hot hand. I think the AFC representative is going to be the Jaguars. And as you said, it's close with the Texans. And the reason I'm taking the Jaguars is solely because I think in the two games they played the Texans, they split the games, but I think they were the better team overall. So I'm simply riding on that they're now playing at a much higher level than they played when they played the Texans. And I think it will come down to it. I think they will meet. They're on a collision course. And I think that I favour the Jaguars in that matchup. I know it's risky because we've seen different sides to Trevor Lawrence. So once again, I'm putting my faith in Trevor Lawrence not to wet the bed. But I've been really impressed. And, you know, the win at the Broncos just said to me, okay, this is actually real.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jags are real and he is playing really, really well. And they're a well-rounded team. You know, they can run and pass, and they've got really good receivers. The pass rush is right there. They've got some players in the secondary. They're a really good roster, the Jags. And it seems like they've got the coach now who's calling plays, and the quarterback's playing really, really well. And the here he's now added a running element to his play, which adds something else. So yeah, the Jags are right there. But yeah, the thing about it's not an easy question because a lot of teams do have flaws. And that's why the Jags would be a lot of people's pick.
I hope we see it though. Like, I hope, you know, obviously it'd be great to be AFC Championship, but I hope we see it. Jaguars against Texans, because I think third meeting would be special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get into the games then.
Well,
So,
before, just one last question. So we've made our pick for the AFC. We both picked the Eagles pre-season.
hmm.
So do you want to stick or do you want to twist?
With no, I'll stick. I'll stick. Just stubbornly, yeah, I'll stick. The Eagles' defense is really, really good, and yeah, the offense does worry me. It really does. Saquon's had a massively down year, but this is the time to get it together. And they're playing a banged up 49ers team, which I expect them to get through this week. And then you just don't know. And then they've most likely they'll have a home game next week as well. And then you're one game away. And yeah, I'm not going to change. The Rams worry me. The Rams would be close. They've got almost they've got the best possible matchup you could get this week at Carolina. So they're in the divisional rounds. They're getting guys back on offense. And if they didn't have that meltdown against the Seahawks, then they could have a much higher seed in, and it could be the Rams or it could be the favorite in the NFC. So if I were to change, it were to be to the Rams, but I made my pick. I'm sticking with my pick, the Eagles.
I am also sticking with the Eagles because they are healthy, they are rested, and this is the time for them to come alive, I think. As you said, this defense is scary. Maybe not ranked number 1 or 2 this year, but I'm telling you, they will come to life in the playoffs. And on offense, they experimented a bit towards the end of the season. They opened up, and I saw enough from AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts to say they're back on the same page. So to me, good luck scoring on this defense. And I say they have championship pedigree to get back again. And if that happens, I mean, we're saying Eagles Texans or Eagles Jaguars. Sign me up. That will be a great Super Bowl either way.
Yeah. So my wild card would be the Rams. If you were to replace the Eagles, who would you go?
Ooh, wow. Yeah, it would be the Rams because I just don't trust Seattle's offense. The Bears' defense is you can score on that. I guess the one X factor is the Packers because we don't know. Like if they hit top gear, they can compete with anyone. But they've stumbled into the playoffs with injuries. So that's the issue.
Yeah,
But they are a scary team.
the Packers defense now worries me. Um, they're not playing well heading into the playoffs, and Jordan Love's had a period off. So is he going to hit the ground running?
This is the scariest week for that. Like if they come through against the Bears, you know, maybe they can come to life, but they're weakest now, so it's a good time to play them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get stuck into the games. We start Saturday night. Probably the worst game of the week. Rams at the Panthers. It is an NFC rematch. Somehow, some way, the Panthers beat the Rams earlier in the season. Rams favored by 10.5 ball. What do you think about this game?
I think 10's a lot.
Yeah,
They beat them. Yeah, they had some crazy turnovers in that game, but 10's a lot in the playoffs.
it is.
You don't expect that stadium to be crazy, like a really hostile environment. It doesn't strike me as that kind of stadium or that kind of fan base. And the weather's not going to be a factor in this game. It's not going to be cold in Carolina. I've checked the weather. Um, the Panthers have to be able to run the ball to have any success against the Rams. And the Rams are okay at stopping the run. They're not towards the top of the league, but they're okay. So if they can just stop the Panthers from having, say, 150 as a team and hand it over to make them keep the ball in the hands of Bryce Young, then the Rams will win this quite comfortably, I would say. I think the Rams do have some leeway in this game that Stafford can turn the ball over. maybe a couple of times and they still win because of the disparity in how the teams are. So yeah, I think this is a good matchup for the Rams to continue to get healthy. I just can't make a real case for Carolina. I want to try to make it a conversation of how the Panthers could win this game, and it would only be that they run all over the Rams and then Stafford turns the ball over. But Stafford turned the ball over in the previous matchup multiple times, and it was still close. So we've seen this matchup when everything went in the Panthers' favor, and it was close. So with the season on the line, you've got to say that the Rams are just going to play a cleaner game. And if they play a slightly cleaner game, then they win this game comfortably. I think 10's a lot, though. Maybe, 6 or 7, like a touchdown, is fair. 10 surprises me for the home team. But the Panthers are not playing great heading into playoffs as well. I mean, they're on a bit of a losing streak, and yeah, they're overall a pretty weak playoff representative. So yeah, Rams win, but say a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, from a neutral point of view, I wanted the Buccaneers to be in the playoffs ahead of the Panthers. And maybe I've been a bit harsh on the Panthers because when I look at their overall roster, I actually do see promise, but I don't see promise in their quarterback, Bryce Young. I don't. I think you nailed it. Can they run the ball? Well, the question to the Rams is don't let them run the ball. Force Bryce Young to beat you. And he might make a few big plays to McMillan or whoever it may be, but I don't think he's going to do that consistently. I don't think he can hurt you consistently. So it is a case of will Matt Stafford play a clean game this week? And I think he will. And yeah, they've got some really good corners on this team, but Puka Nacua is damn good. And I think Adams is back. So having Adams back will definitely open it up more. You can't just hone in on Nacua. And for that reason, I think the Rams are going to win this game. 10 is a lot, though, for a playoff game. Yeah, they could go ahead and blow them out, but the Panthers did upset them. So I say Rams win, Panthers cover. But I think it will be a fairly comfortable win in the end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. It's really hard to make a case for the Panthers, isn't it? You want to talk about, oh, okay, well, they have this avenue. They only really have Rams turnovers and running the ball. If this gets into a shootout, they get crushed. If all things are equal and the turnovers are equal and there's no crazy special teams plays, they get crushed. So it has to be heavily weighed in the Rams handing them the game for this game to be competitive. You have to say that. And if you're watching the Panthers in the last couple of weeks, like you just don't have confidence heading in. And
no.
they have improved a little bit lately in the secondary with, I think he's a safety. The guy Lake's come back and he's made a difference to their coverages. So yeah, the Rams are just a far better team than the Panthers.
And to that end, I would just, whatever happens in this playoff run, Panthers need to look at this and say, this isn't progress from a quarterback point of view. I think they have to cut the cord after this year if they're really serious about going up a level. Like Bryce Young is not your future. I just don't see it. And I do see a lot of promise from these other guys. Like
Yeah,
they've made some good acquisitions, some good draft picks. You look at their defense, they've got a game breaker in Derek Brown. They've got JC Horn, your guy. McMillan McMillan got to 1,000 yards, but what could he do with great quarterback play? And of course, the two running backs. So I just think, you know, see this as team progress, but your quarterback is not progressing, in my opinion.
I don't think they will. This owner made the decision they made a trade up to go and get Bryce Young with this owner. It's at least what I know of the owner. He's quite ego driven, isn't he? He's the guy that's had run-ins with fans before. He's going to double down on Bryce Young, isn't he? He's traded up. He's made his bed to lie in with this Bryce Young decision. Bryce Young is going to get paid. He shouldn't. I agree with you, but he will get paid.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen it firsthand when you've traded up big and it's gone wrong. Well, you know what Shanahan and Lynch did? They accepted their mistake,
Yeah,
and they're not hard headed about it. That's what I think is the situation right now with Bryce Young. He's not going to take you where you want to go, and it would be a shame if it goes that way because it's a division that's up for grabs.
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, they've won it, but they've won it in a weird way.
They've won it with a losing record.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Bryce Young will head into those negotiations like I'm a division winning quarterback, but in a really bad year. You've got like, you know, if the Bucks hadn't completely self-imploded, then they win. Or if the Falcons just hadn't had meltdowns on special teams or just stupid ways to win football games the whole season and had their quarterback situations be a total mess and the Falcons win the division. Like the Panthers needed those two things to exist, and the Saints only getting it together at the end of the year. They needed all those three things to happen for them to win the division. Is that going to happen next year? Are all three things, are three disasters going to coexist again in your division? That's hard to kind of make a case for.
The Falcons lost to the Jets. Like, you think that... I know, obviously, things happen after that, but
yeah,
I think that loss...
Yeah, this NFL has been crazy. The Falcons have lost to the Jets, got crushed by the Dolphins, and beat the Bills and the Rams in prime time.
Yeah. Just before we move on, I just want to air out Matt Stafford is my MVP. And I completely respect that Drake May's had a great season. But Patriots fans telling me this week that the Patriots had a harder schedule and played harder defenses, you are in cuckoo land if you think that is the case. Look at your schedule. The Rams played 4 of the top 8 scoring defenses. Eagles, Texans, Seahawks twice. I forget the other one. Matt Stafford torched the Seahawks. The other one, he threw 5 touchdowns on the Jaguars. I just had to get that out of my system.
How did that conversation happen? How is that even a thing that the Patriots fans? I mean, that's just being oversensitive. Like, that's not being objective about the Patriots. Their schedule is not. You can't hide from it. It's out there. They've beaten one team with a winning record.
Exactly.
That's it. End off. Like with the Patriots, you can only say that. I don't know how you can actually. You can say that Drake May is the MVP for his play, but you cannot say he is the MVP for who he has played.
Exactly. That is my point. Like, you're in cuckoo land, Patriots fans. You're back. Like, we get that you're in the playoffs. And, like, I don't want to come across as a Drake May hater because I actually really like the way he plays. Like, his throwing ability. I see it. He's a dual threat. But impartial me, as a 49ers fan, is making a case for Stafford as the MVP, who obviously is part of the Rams. So that tells you, I must feel pretty strongly that Stafford is the MVP. Like, if, I've got Patriots fans saying that they had a harder schedule. No way, Jose.
Mm. Yeah, I think I don't know the exact thing, but it's one of the easiest schedules, at least win-loss in NFL history.
And defenses, like, you got to tell me what defenses they faced this year. Bills, Browns, I would say. But
Yeah.
I'm looking around and I'm saying, you didn't play the Eagles. You certainly didn't play the Texans. So I don't know. And Seattle, I don't know where they're coming from on that one.
Wait and see with the Patriots because yeah, they're going to play some defenses now, or
Oh yeah.
at least one defense. So we'll see.
So next up, the Saturday double header ends with a game that we've seen twice already this year. The Packers at the Bears. This is a very interesting matchup because the Bears defense hasn't looked very good the last few weeks in particular. But the Packers come in with a massive question mark. I mean, Jordan Love is going to play, but he hasn't played since the last time the Packers played the Bears.
Yeah.
And the Packers without Micah Parsons, that's a totally different proposition. Now, I know that they're not facing King Henry this week, but that was really alarming the way that they just sat there and took, what was it, 220 yards rushing from King Henry, with four D linemen on the field all game. No adjustment. Just keep running it and we'll just keep giving you this same formation that you can run on. So will the Bears be able to expose that? And of course, the big question is, will Jordan Love play like Jordan Love in the playoffs, or will we see a rusty Jordan Love? That's the question for me. Christian Watson is going to play, I believe, because he wasn't on the injury report last week. So the Packers decided we're just going to do a hard rest for Week 18, which I think is smart. They had nothing to play for. They were going to be the 7th seed either way. And Odunze is going to be back for the Bears. Now, he's missed a few weeks. So when I look at the Bears, well, in fact, they're coming into the playoffs on a losing streak. The weird thing is, the last win for the Bears was beating the Packers, and I think the last win for the Packers was beating the Bears. So this is a tough one to call. It's in Chicago. It's Caleb Williams' first playoff game. I'm going to go on what I've seen in the two matchups, I think. And I think that the Packers have been the better team in both games. They threw that second game away. It's so risky because I don't know what state Jordan Love is in, but I am a Jordan Love believer. I have to think that it was a concussion, I believe. They've had the week off. The Bears played hard last week and lost against the Lions. Their defense hasn't looked very good. I know the Packers have lost Parsons, but I just think the Packers have the answers for the Bears. This will be a great game, though. And it won't shock me if the Bears win it, but I think I'm taking the upset. I think this is an upset if the Packers win. With the amount of question marks there are, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. Michael Jordan Love is back in the playoffs, and I say that he tears this defense apart.
Yeah, I've been back and forth in two matchups, one in the AFC and this one. And early week, I was a Packers guy. I've seen it from Jordan Love. And then late as we come closer to the game, I'm heading in the direction of the Bears because the coaching, Ben Johnson and Caleb's been playing great for the most part. And yeah, the defense isn't great, but they lead the league in takeaways. And Jordan Love loves a takeaway. And it's going to be crazy. Like the Bears and the Packers is like the oldest rivalry in the NFL, and it's a playoff game. Are you kidding me? It's going to be so loud in there. The weather's it's cold. It's Chicago in January, but it's not. It's not Baltic. It's not going to be crazy, and they're both cold weather teams. There's no dome team here. They both want to run the ball. The Bears are really good at running the ball now with Ben Johnson. And Caleb, for the most of the season, hasn't turned the ball over. It's been pretty efficient and lately has been not as scatty as he was earlier in the season. Like he's getting that connection going with Ben Johnson. I think a few things have to go right for the Packers to win this. And the Packers defense has been atrocious the last few weeks heading into the playoffs. So I think this is a could be quite a high scoring game.
The over-under is only 45.
Yeah, I think that's probably reputation, like Chicago, January, cold. But these defenses are not, they're not scary. And yeah, the only way you could see it going under if there's a lot of running in the game, but Jordan Love is a proven commodity in the playoffs, but he's not played in a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, the Packers should have won that game, the previous game, but will Caleb be a playoff quarterback? I think he's got the right head coach to do it. I think the head coach will put him in the right situation and calm him down and just, tell him the right things. Just keep doing what you're doing and just don't think of what this means. Just it's another football game. You played these since you were a kid. So yeah, I'm heading that way. Later as the game gets closer, I'm heading more and more and more towards the Bears. The Packers, yeah, on reputation, they're the Green Bay Packers. This is the playoffs. It's Jordan Love. Yeah, that's when you first hear the matchup, Packers at Bears. Yeah, the Packers, but I think the Bears are there. I think the Bears have a shot in these playoffs, and I don't think they could have a better, okay, they could be going to the Panthers like the Rams, but I think this is a good matchup for the Bears. If they don't beat the Packers, then it really sting them. It really hurt them to have the season that they've had. So I think they're going to be motivated. The place is going to be crazy. So I am taking the Chicago Bears to win a playoff game and Caleb his first playoff win, and Ben Johnson his first playoff win as a head coach. So there's a lot of firsts in there for the Bears, but I think they've got the right situation for it to happen.
Okay. And Caleb, I agree. He's already shown us that he's going to make the big play. It's just, will he make the easy plays?
Yeah.
One thing I would say for the Bears this week is they need to get Luther Burden involved early, because I don't know why he was not involved for 3 quarters last week. And then suddenly they got him involved and he came alive. Like, he is an X factor for them. And I think that if he's involved, he could definitely make my prediction very wrong.
You've also got, I'm just thinking now, you've also got the X factor of Ben Johnson in the playoffs. Like, what has he got? What has he been holding back?
Yeah.
It is like an elimination game this week. So he's not going to leave anything out there.
True. And for some reason, he does not like Matt LaFleur. Like, he seems pretty obsessed with talking about Matt LaFleur. So it's quite funny the way that this has become a rivalry so quickly.
Yeah, this is going to be an entertaining game. The Packers and the Bears, they hate each other. It's outdoors. It's going to be cold. It's going to be kind of nasty. Yeah, the defenses maybe aren't nasty, but yeah, it's got all the makings of a really, really great game. And it is. You hear the phrase coin flip game. This is a coin flip game because you could ask 10 people and five, 55% Packers, 45 Bears, or vice versa. It doesn't. Even if people just blindly say Bears or Packers, then and they can't make a case for the other team, then I don't think they're being honest with themselves.
Vegas has the spread favoring the Packers by 1. So that says it all.
Yeah, that. So the 3 points for the home field. So they say that So they say that the Packers, if it's at Packers, then it's Packers -4.
Mm.
I think that's a lot. I think that's just a bit too rich.
It's a split for me, for
Yeah.
sure.
But this is one game that I will watch start to finish, and I will be into this game. Obviously they're elimination games, but because of the time difference and everything, like, yeah, I'm gonna stay up to watch Packers Bears because yeah, these are the matchups. I'm not crazy about Rams Panthers. I'll catch up with it. But Packers Bears, yeah, sign me up.
Yep, great game. So from one great game to potentially another Sunday slate, the earliest game, the Bills go into Jacksonville. Bills are favored by 1. What say you on this one, Paul?
Um,
The over under is 51 and a half.
yeah. So the Bills defense is pretty. The Bills defense really worries me, is what I'm trying to say. Against the Jaguars, the case I could make for the Bills winning is that Josh Allen plays quarterback, and he has James Cook behind him. But the Bills are really, really bad at stopping the run. They're pretty good at stopping the pass. They're pretty good in the secondary, at least yardage wise. But the Jags can do a little bit of everything. And then on the Jacksonville side, you say, okay, they're on the 8-game winning streak, but I can only give them massive credit for the win in Denver. And then you could say that, okay, well, the Broncos are flawed. I mean, they're the number one seed, but how much weight do you put on that win in Denver? Is that the Broncos aren't dominant, so how much credit do you give to that Jacksonville win? But the Jags have a defense all around. They can lock you up in the passing game, and they really can stop the run. So I don't think James Cook is going to go off in this game. I think this is a Josh Allen needs to take the game over. And he's capable of doing that. And I want Josh Allen to have success in the playoffs. This stuff about, oh, okay, he has to win this year because Lamar, Mahomes, and Burrows in there, that's just complete bollocks. It's not. He has to play with that run defense. He doesn't play D tackle. That's not his. So, but will the Jags turn up in the playoffs? Will the Jags just, almost be calm and not realize the moment that they are a real Super Bowl contender? Yeah, that I think that the logical pick is to take Jacksonville in this. And I want Josh Allen to have success, don't get me wrong, but I just think this is tough. I just think the Jags are a tough matchup and they're just really well rounded. Like the defense can do a little bit of everything. I think they're right up there in the NFL in takeaways as well. They're really good at stopping the run. So, and Josh Allen, yeah, he's got some receivers, and I'm not as not you're not against the Bills receivers, but you're not a great fan of the Bills receivers, shall we say? I think they're okay, but I'm taking the Jags receivers every day over the Bills receivers. That's a big discrepancy. And if Trevor Lawrence can just play a good enough game, then I think the Jags could win this fairly handily. So yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville. It's crazy, like you're actually how quickly the NFL turns. if at the start of the season, if we say right, it's Bills at Jaguars in the playoffs, first of all, you'd be shocked, but of course you're taking the Buffalo Bills. But you have to watch what happens during the regular season. Jacksonville have done everything that you would hope for heading into the playoffs, and Trevor Lawrence has just added so much to his game. Liam Cohen being there has added so much to Trevor Lawrence's game that I think it's a scary matchup for the Bills defense. And I just don't think they can hang with the Jags. So I'm taking Jacksonville.
Mm. I, like you, want to see Josh Allen win and succeed in the playoffs. He's probably won more games than anyone in the playoffs apart from Rodgers, and he's not far off Rodgers. But there's a lot of limitations, and I think the key to the matchup is, are the Bills going to stop the run or not? Because like you said, they can play good pass defense when they're not getting gashed by the run. That's the key. The Bills have to stop the run, and then they get in the position where they want to be, playing pass defense. And on offense, I think they've got a bit of a problem protecting Josh Allen. I've seen a lot of games this year where the pass rush is getting home. And the Jaguars are an aggressive defense. I don't really see them as bend but don't break. They are like, we are going to come for you, and we might give up a few big plays here or there because of it. The Jaguars have a lot of weapons. Parker Washington, is kind of like their third option in the receiving game behind Brian Thomas Jr. and Jacoby Myers. He has been really hurting teams in the last few weeks. If they can't stop the run, the Bills, it might be a day for my man Travis Etienne. And, of course, the dual threat now of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is 1-1 in the playoffs, I think. So the loss to the Chiefs and the sole win was that crazy Chargers comeback. So your point about can Trevor Lawrence deliver in the playoffs is a real question. But they are running hot. And Trevor Lawrence has played very well in the last month, I'd say. So I'm not expecting him to wet the bed. And as it always is really with the Bills, it has to be a Josh Allen hero game. If the Jaguars stop the run, it is all on Josh Allen to ad-lib and make plays. I think this will be high scoring. I think that Josh Allen is going to give it a great effort, but it's not going to be enough. There is too much to overcome for me against the red-hot Jaguars. This is probably the hottest team going into the playoffs. So I say Jaguars advance. The spread is 1 in favor of the Bills, so they cover. And it's another year to think about how they can get better for the Bills, I think.
Yeah.
They're not ready. And as you said, the casual fan is looking at it like a boxing match. Well, Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar aren't there, so surely Josh Allen's getting to the Super Bowl. It doesn't work like this. This is the ultimate team sport. And I say the Jaguars have the far better team.
They do. They do. And that's it. It's only going to be Josh Allen lovers who are going to say, right, yeah, the Bills, I think the Bills are going to win this game. I mean, if you're watching the games lately, then the Jags are playing far better football heading into the playoffs than the Bills. And a lot of the things that you would want, defense, like nasty defense, offensive head coach, quarterback playing out of his mind. They're at home. Weather's not going to be a factor. Like, they can run, and they're a versatile offense as well. They're not like heavily weighted in one facet. So everything's there for the Jags. It's right there. It's just like you said about Trevor Lawrence, we're going to find out if he's a playoff quarterback because it's near, it's real now. It's the playoffs are in your house in Jacksonville, so now they have to, you know, put their foot down, get through the Bills, and then we'll see because it's right there for them. They've gone into Denver, the number one seeds, and they've beaten them not long ago. So it's all there for Jacksonville. And for the Bills, it's Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen could have a crazy game and still lose this week, and that's why I don't think it's that difficult to pick the Jags this week because Trevor Lawrence could have an efficient game as long as he doesn't lose the game and the Jags win. But Josh Allen has to go off for, I think, the Bills to be close. And yeah, James Cook does lead the league in yards, but the Jags is a really good defense. So I think James Cook is going to be limited. I think the way to get James Cook involved is out of the backfield. I think on screens and checkdowns, because you need to get James Cook involved because he's a really special player, and the receivers aren't great on the Bills. So get James Cook in space, but yeah, I just think that the Jags have got this, provided they don't realize the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So we move on to the second game on Sunday. My San Francisco 49ers are heading into Philadelphia to face the Eagles, the reigning defending champions. The spread is 4.5 in favor of the Eagles. Last weekend could not have gone any worse for the 49ers, I think, because this is the one matchup I didn't want. We could have been the number one seed and had this week off. We could have faced the Bears in Chicago for another crazy game. But instead, we get the Eagles.
Yeah, there's a slight difference in defense that you face. What is the health of your 49ers? That's what I need to know before this game.
Yeah, okay. So there's issues. I mean, we have no healthy linebackers. So Eric Kendricks has been promoted to the active roster. I think he might have played a bit last week. And we've had to sign someone, Kazir White. I admit I know nothing about him. He's apparently going to give us minutes, was the quote. So there's real problems on this defense. The one kind of shining player for us, I think, on defense this year has been D. Winters, and I don't know if he's going to play. So real issues. Now, it doesn't stop there on offense. Trent Williams is a legitimate doubt to play in the game. And Pearsall re-aggravated his PCL injury. So there are a lot of injuries to overcome. Last week, the 49ers faced a real defense and got shut down. I think scoring 3 points, that's the lowest amount of points the 49ers have scored in the Shanahan era. And now we're facing this defense who effectively took the week off last week.
Yeah.
So the odds are completely stacked against the Niners. And I'll be honest, I don't think 4.5 is enough. I know in recent weeks you have been on me about some of these picks I've made. Okay, Bears, 49ers. Maybe I was playing I thought it was a 50-50. But this week...
It came down to the last eight.
Right? Yeah. But this week, I don't see a chance. I don't give the 49ers any hope in hell, unfortunately. It's been a great year. Sadly, I think it's going to come to an abrupt end. Vic Fangio has faced Shanahan 4 times, and we've not scored over 15 points in any of those games. I think this is going to be a Saquon Barkley game.
Those matchups, you had no quarterback. Christian McCaffrey was playing quarterback at one time. So we'll take at least one out. Let's make a case for the 49ers. Okay, So the case is that Purdy plays. So we get Purdy from scrap the Seattle game. We get Purdy from the last month.
Yeah.
Okay. So they take Purdy away from the pocket. They roll him out, make him mobile, make him get that Purdy confidence back. It's only 1 week, and Seattle is a real defense. Okay. So if we give the 49ers, if they just play a decent game on offense and they put up 20 points, then the Eagles' offensive struggles are real. And the 49ers limit the Eagles to 20 points, even the Eagles' conservative offense. I can't do it overall. I can see the way that the 49ers could make this contest, but then I don't trust your defense enough to, even though it's the Eagles, to limit them, because I don't think the 49ers can stop anybody.
What number? What's the number? Because the question is, like, we know the defense isn't good. What's the number on offense the 49ers have to get to in this game, do you think?
With your defense?
With our defense.
27.
See, I think it's got to be about 35.
Yeah.
And it's tough to score on this defense in Philly. You know, if you'd got the number 1 seed and Philly come to Levi Stadium, maybe I'll still pick the Eagles, but I think it'd be a lot closer. Like, it's also the fact that we are a West Coast team going to Philly. So
I don't think that's a problem. You've had not a Patriots schedule, but a favorable schedule, shall we say? But you've won a lot of games on the road. You know, you've won in Cleveland, like you've won in cold weather places, and the Eagles aren't flying on offense.
No.
So if the Eagles just continue that, then you might be able to get away with it with your defense. If there's one offense that you'd want to face, if there's one offense you want to face in the NFC, except the Panthers this week, it would be the Eagles.
I still say Seattle personally, but then look at Seattle's defense. They completely shut us down.
Yeah.
So I worry about the fact that you've got AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. Like, these are not just, you know, off the shelf wide receivers. These are special receivers that if Jalen Hurts just throws it up to them, they're going to make the play. And the linebacker situation, that's the thing for me. This is probably going to be a Saquon Barkley game.
Yeah.
Because the Seattle's, like, the Seahawks just gashed us with the run last week. I was shocked by that. I thought we've actually played the run pretty well. It's the past we've had problems with. They gashed us on the ground. So some concerns.
But the Eagles haven't been super successful running the ball this year. It's not
True.
So I'm just saying that if the weakness of your team is your defense, then the Eagles is a good matchup for most teams. It's the one matchup in the NFC that you want, except the Panthers. So that's the case that you can make for the 49ers.
So the key is, can the 49ers score on the Eagles' defense?
Yeah.
Because if they can score on every possession, we're going to win the game. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's a scary defense, as I've been saying for a few weeks. That's the issue. Like, if we'd played the Bears, I would have felt pretty good, because I know that the 49ers are going to score a lot of points on their defense. But the Eagles had to go and lose to the Commanders to spoil that. So this is a tough ask, I think.
It is tough. I'm just making the case for how the 49ers could do it.
Yeah. It has to be on offense. It actually has to be a Brock Purdy redemption game for them breaking his elbow in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, yeah. That
You're not running the ball. You know, if Shanahan thinks that he's going to have success running the ball with CMC this week, we really haven't had success all year. So it's certainly not going to be on this team. You need creative ways to get CMC in the passing game, get the chains moving. That's the key. And it's like one of those, like when we went there and just beat the brakes off them, it was a Debo game. And when I look at where we're heading into the off season and what we saw last week and what we saw against the Texans, the better defenses, we don't have a number one weapon, I don't think. And we need one next year because when we had Debo, you knew if he goes off, you know, this we will splatter teams. And I
yeah.
think we're seeing now, as good as these guys are, Jennings, I'm a big fan of, Pearsall when he's healthy. We miss prime Debo. We don't have that right now.
We need you need to know if Trent is going to play and Pearsall are going to play. That
Yeah.
if they both don't play, I give you no shot. Honestly,
Lane Johnson's back. So imagine that. Trent doesn't play, Lane Johnson returns. Like they've got yeah.
yeah. If both those players do suit up for the 49ers and the Eagles continue how they're playing, how they've been playing for most of the season on offense, then I give the 49ers a shot, a real shot. In fact, I could pick the 49ers if all those things happened. If both those guys are healthy and play, and it would go against my Super Bowl prediction, like preseason, I must say, not like now. I'm not picking the Eagles to win the Super Bowl now. I'm just sticking with my original pick. But yeah, the 49ers, so scrap that Seattle game because yeah, I just think that your O line, adding Trent back into it, I just think is huge. It would just make a huge difference. You can run in his direction and he can protect Purdy, and I just think that makes a huge difference. But all of those things, I'm just trying to be optimistic with the 49ers, but I hear you that it's tough. It's really tough to be confident about the 49ers this week.
If you get the Eagles defense unbalanced early, they have shown that they can get into panic mode a bit, and you can have success on them.
Yeah, you have some matchup proof kind of guys. If you can get McCaffrey in space and Kittle just, I don't care who plays defense.
No.
Like Kittle will make plays, but Purdy needs time. So, and that's where Trent is just huge, and the play calling can Shanahan be creative to move the pocket and get Purdy feeling himself.
Juszczyk is going to be huge in the blocking as well,
Yeah,
motioning him into blocks like we've been seeing this season.
yeah. I think this could be a good game. I'm just trying to make a case for it to be a good game. I don't think it's not a Rams Panthers game. It's
No, no.
it's a real competitive game, and there is history with this. Possibly the worst. Sorry to remind you, the worst NFC Championship game I've ever seen, where you're playing. Who was the guy? Josh Johnson at quarterback at some point, and then McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, just a real, like, what are we doing kind of moment.
So I'm going to say Eagles win 4.5. I'm going to say Eagles cover.
Okay, I agree. I'm taking Eagles and to cover, but I have made the case for how this can be close and how the 49ers could potentially win this game.
Yeah. We need the offense. Purdy, just go on a heroic, go into Josh Allen mode for one game. We'll see.
Purdy has had his moments in the playoffs.
Yeah, he has. He has, for sure. Like, this isn't for the 1,000th time, this is not Jimmy Garoppolo. Like he is a good player.
Yeah.
So, we've seen him we've seen him, like you said, in the playoffs deliver. So we need one of those Dougie celebration type of games from Purdy this week.
If
We need
Dougie,
him on his A game.
yeah, if you see the Dougie, then it means he's scored a touchdown and he's confident, and
Yeah.
that would be a great thing for the 49ers.
Yeah. So to round off Sunday, very intriguing game. Chargers at the Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 3.5. What are your thoughts on this, Paul?
Yeah, so this is, like you said, with the hate that you were getting, this is from the Patriots fans about the schedule. This is tough because of how much weight do you put on the Patriots and the lack of competition in the schedule that they face. I mean, that's not, I don't want to trigger hate or anything, but they've beaten one team with a winning record. That's a real fact. That's a fact. So
They
now,
have a losing record against teams with a winning record this year, 1-2.
yeah. So, and because of that, when you look at the Patriots defense, when you look at who they've played, the Patriots defense is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing more, nothing less. It's okay. It's kind of middle of the pack. Yeah, they've got some guys, but they're not. And because of who they've played, now they're heading into the playoffs and they're going to have to play. They're going to have to go on a run and play 4 good offenses in a row to be Super Bowl champions. And the Chargers, yeah, they've got. So the Chargers, their problems at tackle, their problems in protecting Justin Herbert are obvious at this point. But the Patriots don't blitz a whole lot and they don't have elite pass rushers to pressure. This is not the Broncos or the Texans. So the Chargers could limit that. They could give Herbert enough time to make plays. The Chargers are also getting Hampton back this week. And the Chargers, they were happy with this matchup. They sat guys last week.
Yep.
So, so they could, because I think they could have been the 6th seed for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could be heading into Jacksonville.
I mean, theoretically, they could have had the 5 seed if everything went their way last week.
Yeah. But the way the chips fell, Houston won. So if the outcomes were the same and the Chargers did win last week, then they would be the 6th seed, I believe. That they would to Jacksonville, which I don't.
Maybe they didn't want.
Yeah, which I
after last time.
Had to say would be tougher. I would take the Patriots over the Jags.
Yeah.
So, and it's a real thing. So the Patriots, yeah, Drake May's playing great, and I love watching Drake May play. I think he's a really, really special talent, and all the throws. But I don't learn anything from them crushing the Jets and scoring on every single offensive possession, and then sitting guys in the third quarter.
Apparently, that was one of the highest QBR ratings of all time against the Jets. That's another argument for the MVP case.
Yeah, a Jets team that were tanking and they quit.
Right.
Okay. I want to make a case for the Patriots, but I think this game's close. I just don't know. Will the Patriots are well coached, so the Mike Vrabel team, they'll be ready. They'll head into the playoffs and they'll be ready. But the Chargers defense is also pretty damn good. And I don't know. This is this is my back and forth game in the AFC. So I think 3.5's a lot for the spread. I'm just leaning Chargers, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots win. It's more just that I think it's time. Justin Herbert, it's time. I think this is a good spot for him. You know, the Patriots defense is not scary. Justin Herbert has to win a playoff game at some point. He will win a playoff game at some point. It might not be this week, but this is a great opportunity. So I say the Chargers go in there and win. Pull off a mini upset.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, back to the sort of point, the Patriots, I personally don't think they faced many great defenses. This is a defense, at least statistically, that ranks in the top 8 in basically every category. You know, they're very good against the pass. Jim Harbaugh team, you know, are going to be good against the run, and they don't give away that many points. So I think this could be low scoring. I think that the Patriots will have trouble moving the ball on this defense, despite Drake May playing very well this year. And, you know, I think Diggs has come to life a bit in this second half of the season. Can they run the? Can we get the best out of Ramondre Stevenson in this game? I don't think so. I think the route to success is through Henderson in this one. Don't be fooled by Stevenson's massive game. What was it against the Dolphins and the Jets? Do not be fooled by that. The Chargers are going to handle him. I think the route is through Travion Henderson. The Chargers basically took a bye week last week, so they're going to be the fresher team. Okay, the Patriots pulled players from, you know, early in the fourth quarter, but they still played. It was bigger for the Chargers to get a week to recover than it was for them to get the 6th seed, and they've done that. So I think Herbert will be ready to go. You said it already. Amarian Hampton needs to be a big factor in this game. And they can lean on the fact that they went to New England last year. I know a very different team, but they had a great time in New England last year. And so I think this could be a McConkey game. Like, I don't know who Gonzalez is going to follow. You know, I'm assuming he'll be on the outside with, I forget his name, the receiver that's kind of broken out this year that was, you know, labeled a flop.
Oh, John Quinn.
Quentin Johnston, that's it, yeah. I think this is going to be a McConkey game. And I do think it's time. Yeah. It's time for Herbert to win a playoff game. And I say it is this week. It's not going to be easy. And they're going to need things to go their way in this game. But maybe just through blind faith, I am a Jim Harbaugh believer. And I know that loss in Houston last year hurt him. And he hasn't forgotten about it. And he doesn't want to feel like that this week. And I say the Chargers defense makes it happen, and Herbert makes it happen. He's going to have to run a bit in this game, I think. Close game, but I say Chargers win. So I'm really leaning into that Patriots hater arc now, aren't I? Not picking them to win. And disregarding Drake May. Well, I don't think I've disregarded Drake May's MVP case. He's definitely in the candidacy. But yeah, enough about that. The last game.
Well, admit, if as a fan base, look, if the Steelers had an easy schedule, and you were getting at me about the Steelers having an easy schedule, just admit to it. Just be, yeah, I know, but look at the stats. Don't defend. You cannot defend the indefensible. It's out there. It's not like it's not hiding. It's right there. The Patriots schedule is a real thing. It was a real thing in September before we found out how historically bad a lot of the teams that you played were. And just look at how many backup quarterbacks you played throughout the year. So let's just own it. Let's just, we don't have to react to things. We can just say, yeah, I know, but like, he's really, really, really fucking good, Drake, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Don't.
It's like the Niners. I said the Niners would go 12-5. They went 12-5. They're still going exactly the way I thought they would go, which is probably one and done. I haven't lost my mind over 12-5.
Yeah, the schedule was a real thing. Like San Francisco were what, 5-win team, 5-6 win team last year, and were favorites, preseason favorites to win the NFC West because of the schedule. And the Patriots were expected to win 10, 11 games, having what picked in the top 5 last year, winning, I think it was what, 4 wins in the regular season last year, and were expected to win 10, 11 games. That was the over under win total because of the schedule. So Vegas told everybody before the season, yeah, Mike Vrabel, yeah, Drake May, and yeah, cakewalk schedule. It was a real thing. And it's that way. And a lot of the chips fell the way that the Patriots wanted. They played a heck of a lot of, I haven't got the schedule up in front of me. I just know from remembering the games, they played a heck of a lot of bad or backup quarterbacks throughout the season.
Well, you got 4 wins out of the Dolphins and the Jets. Somehow they lost to the Raiders. I mean, week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We round out wildcard weekend. The number 1 defense, Texans, going into Pittsburgh. Your Pittsburgh Steelers, Paul. The Texans are favored by 3. What are your thoughts on your Steelers in the playoffs? Can they win a playoff game?
They can. It'll be extremely tough because the way that the Pittsburgh offense is, the way that it's built, and Aaron Rodgers, like air yards, that's a real thing. I mean, the way they can win this game is if Aaron Rodgers plays how he did in the second half against Baltimore. The problem with that is that Baltimore can't get after, or didn't get after, Aaron Rodgers, and the Texans will, and they don't need to blitz to get after him. Seattle-based scheme in the Texans, so they'll just sit and play coverage, like man-to-man for the most part, and they don't need to send the house to pressure because of the elite guys they have on the D-line. And the Pittsburgh offense is basic. So DK Metcalf coming back, yeah, it can make a difference, but Aaron Rodgers needs time. So first of all, they need to be aggressive in their play call in Pittsburgh, which they haven't been, except when they've
sort of forced to.
Yeah, when they've had to, when they're down in the game, or they're playing against a team that can't pressure the quarterback. Because Aaron Rodgers can still throw the ball. His arm does not look age 42.
No, this isn't Drew Brees' arm at 42. Like, it's like he's not wanting to put the ball in danger, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and the Steelers defense worries me against the Texans because the Texans can have. So the Steelers pass defense, I said it a few weeks ago, it's really, really bad for the most part. And there was some big miscommunications in the secondary last week. And the Texans have a better passing game than the Ravens. At least if they put it up there. So, I mean, obviously I want the Steelers to win, and I want them to end this playoff like drought of wins. It's at home. They don't lose in Pittsburgh on Monday night.
Mm.
Those are the cases you can make for the Steelers winning. That it makes no sense, but it's at home and it makes no sense, but they'll win. But matchup wise, the Texans is not a good matchup for the Steelers at all in any way. The way that the Steelers play offense and the way that the Texans play defense is they are not well suited. They cannot coexist well. The outcomes are not favorable for the Steelers. Can Jalen Warren be involved underneath? Yes. But I don't know. No, look, I win either way. I'm going to take the Texans, but then I win if Steelers do pull the crazy upset, because it is a crazy upset because this Texans defense is really, really good. I just don't think they can do it because of the way that the Texans will be able to pressure Aaron Rodgers. He needs to get rid of the ball so quick. He's good at that, but then all of the plays are going to have to be within 5 yards.
Mm.
So then they're going to have to be yards after catch and missed tackles. And Warren and Gainwell can have success, and they do have success against most teams that they play in making people miss. But then on the other side, even if that happens and they do have success on offense, the Steelers defense is not going to be able to limit the Texans. I don't think. I just don't think they can. They might be able to pressure Stroud, Herbig and Highsmith and Watt. They might be able to get some pressure on CJ Stroud. But I just think a lot of things have to fall into place for the Steelers to win. It can happen. Crazy things, as we've seen, happen in that stadium. Tomlin as an underdog Monday night. But sometimes you just have to take emotion out of it and go, okay, but who's on each roster and how do they scheme up plays? And if I am being logical and not being emotional, there's only one choice, and it's the Texans.
Okay. Of all the 6 games this week, I think the turnover battle is the most important in this one. Because, as you said, logically speaking, the Texans should win this game. If CJ Stroud plays a clean game and the offense doesn't turn it over, I expect the Texans to win this game. And I think it will be low scoring. But we have seen CJ Stroud a bit panicky in the pocket lately. Like when they played the Chargers, that game really summed up the best and worst of the Texans. They had 2 explosive touchdowns on the first 2 drives. And then in the second half, CJ Stroud was trying to throw the game. I mean, some of these like threw a bad interception and he threw one that should have been intercepted. So the route for the Steelers is to force CJ Stroud into panic mode, I think, and obviously not turn it over themselves, because I think the Steelers are going to struggle on offense in this game. As you said, they can get to the quarterback with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. And who's going to be open? You know, I'm assuming it's going to be DK Metcalf versus Stingley, your guy Stingley. So that will be a battle. You know, that's going to be one where both of them win reps. Okay. So who's the second option? I don't really know, because I feel like Fryermuth gets one big play a game. Like he's designed for. There's this moment in the game late on where he's going to give you a 30-yard play.
Well, you've got to draw him up plays. He's
Yeah.
not involved until he's needed,
Yeah.
and that's because of the play calling that they have out there. They just don't want to. They just don't set up to throw the ball deep because of everything's short or shallow until the game's on the line, like
And
last
they have to.
yeah,
Yeah.
against the Browns when it's final drive. Oh yeah, we've got these tight ends. Yeah, he's pretty good, right? Yeah, let's throw in his direction. Yeah, and we're not worried about. We're not worried about Myles Garrett sacking the quarterback because like the game's lost anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a bigger. Will they change everything in 1 week? The play calling? No. And against this team, it's not a good. Not a
This
good.
is not the defense. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. So it is going to need to be a Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell game.
Yeah.
You know, the tricks and really Rodgers doing, what he does at the line, understanding the looks he's getting and manufacturing 5-yard plays, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the Texans are going to struggle on offense as well. I know they've got a lot of speed, and that is a real worry. Really, for my guy Jalen Ramsey, like he doesn't look like he should be playing safety, in my opinion. Like his lack of speed is a real problem against this team because all their receivers are just about speed. So I worry about Ramsey. And you're right. Like there can be no miscommunications this week because there were so many broken plays last week. It was definitely surprising for me. I know obviously the Steelers have struggled on defense, but those plays you're like these are like literally giveaways. Like we've given away a touchdown here. So that I don't think that's going to happen this week. I'm going to take the Texans. I'm taking the Texans, though, on the basis that I don't think CJ Stroud will have one of the panicky games. Because I think you said it earlier, like he's usually turned up in the playoffs. I think he's 2-2 across the first 2 years, and he's lost to a good Ravens team and he's lost to a good Chiefs team. So good teams have had to knock, him out.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the Texans, I believe, have never won a road playoff game. So it's got to be a first for them.
Because they always win the division and play the home game, don't
Yeah, exactly.
they have got they are the early Saturday game. It's always somebody acting.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I will say Texans win. The over-under's 38.5, and I can see that. I can see it being under. Like I really can, as long as like nothing crazy goes on. I
Yeah.
feel like it will be a defensive struggle,
Yeah.
but I think the Texans will edge it, unfortunately. And so that rounds out wildcard weekend. To the bets pool. Well, in fact, let's start with wildcard weekend. Who's going off draft?
Okay. Who's going off this week?
And it's tough to go off in the playoffs
Yeah.
because, they're here for a reason.
Okay. Who's
While you think, I will start us off.
right?
I'm going to say Saquon Barkley. Give me Saquon Barkley this week. Niners linebackers are banged up. I think the Eagles are going to make it a point of emphasis to run. They'll have seen what happened last week against Seattle. and it's what they want to do. So I think this could be a Saquon Barkley bounce back game to set him up for the rest of the playoffs.
I'm going to take my guy Caleb Williams in his rookie start rookie start in the playoffs. I think it's a good matchup for the Bears. Packers defense isn't playing great heading into the playoffs. And if Caleb can manage his emotions, I think he could have a big game this week.
Okay. I am going to play matchup for this one. Give me Travis Etienne. It's well documented by me that the Bills defense can't stop the run very well. And when the dam breaks, the dam breaks. It's usually happened on the road. And so I say this week, they're going to have some trouble stopping Travis Etienne.
Okay, again, I'm going to take a quarterback. I'm going to take Justin Herbert to win his first playoff game at the Patriots, have a big game. He was rested last week. He's a superstar. I don't think the Patriots can pressure him like a lot of the teams have done this season. So I'll take Justin Herbert.
For my third pick, I will also take a quarterback. I'm going to roll the dice. Give me Jordan Love, aka the alter ego I've given him, Michael Jordan Love. This Bears defense hasn't looked very good in the passing game as of late. Jordan Love, okay, he's coming off a concussion. He hasn't played, but I've seen this guy go crazy in the playoffs against defenses like this, and I say it happens again this week.
Okay, I will take Trevor Lawrence to. Yeah, I'll take Trevor Lawrence. I think he's playing so well lately. He's really feeling himself. He's so confident that I think the Jags are going to have a big offensive day. And Trevor Lawrence is a huge part of that with his arm and with his legs.
Okay. Wild card weekend, touchdown to glory. Um, this will be tricky because we only have 6 games.
Okay, we're going for prices. Or should we go for kind of decent prices ones?
We'll go decent prices, but they don't necessarily have to be 2-1. So
Give me who name me Bears players and the Bears Packers matchup because I'm thinking of Loveland.
Loveland is 2-1.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, take Loveland and
Well, we'll stay in that game. Give me Christian Watson at 2-1. He
yeah,
is going to play.
what price McConkey?
I think this will be good. Let's see. Lad McConkey 5-2.
Okay. What price are the Chargers? So you've got the running back who's going to be short.
Hampton 7-5. I mean, McConkey scored a touchdown in New England, maybe even 2 last year. But Hampton is 7-5, so pretty good as well.
Right. And who else? So Hampton.
Johnston is almost 3-1,
Right.
but he's tapered off in this second half.
Okay.
You can get Herbert at 5-1.
Yeah, that could happen, but that's tough.
That's it's tough. The one to watch actually maybe Trey Harris at 21-4. So that's like just over 5-1.
Yeah. No, I take McConkey 5-2. I think is fair. He's their number one receiver. I think they can have some success against the Patriots defense.
Yeah. So I will take. Let me think about this. Yeah. Give me Parker Washington again. But, I think the Bills, a lot of teams have been concerned with Brian Thomas Jr., with Jacoby Myers, and it leaves little Parker Washington to just kill with speed.
Yeah.
So I could see him scoring again this week. So let's have a look. We've got Lad McConkey. We have got Bears. So we got Watson, and we've got Loveland. And last was
Washington.
Washington. Yeah. Washington's 2-1. You're getting 83-1 on that. So
Okay.
I like it. And just as a side note, I think this has got chances just as a separate bet. Anytime touchdown, Tank Bigsby 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
If the game gets out of hand, I'm not saying it will. I obviously don't want it to. But let's just say at the end of that game against the 49ers, Bigsby's installed. There could be a touchdown there. Good price at 10-1.
Yeah.
So we finish off wildcard weekend best bets. What you got in mind, Paul?
Packers Bears over. I was surprised at the number. And
What's the number?
Didn't you say it's 48 or 45?
45, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Packers
It could be crazy.
45. Weather isn't going to be too much of a factor, and I don't trust either defense. Seen Jordan Love have some success in the playoffs, seen the way that Caleb's been playing all season out of his mind. Ben Johnson in the playoffs, what has he got in his mad hat? Yeah, 45. Over 45, Packers Bears.
Love it. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars +1. I think they win this game. I think they're the more talented team. It could become victim of Superman with Josh Allen. I just don't think it will. I think there's too much to overcome. And at +1, this for me is a no-brainer.
I'll take the Chargers +3.5. I think that they've got a shot to win the game outright. So I don't think the spread is reflective of the two rosters. Yeah, Chargers +3.5. I think it's too high a number.
I hate to do it. I'm going to take the Eagles for -4.5. There's just too many issues on this 49ers roster with injuries. And yeah, okay, if Trent plays, it might be different. I just think that this is a tough matchup and one that I did not want.
Yeah, can we just have, please, please, I've got no dog in this fight, but can we please, for once, have a 49ers-Eagles games where both teams are reasonably healthy? Because I still feel cheated years after the event from that NFC Championship game where McCaffrey's playing quarterback. We were robbed of a competitive match in that game, and this week Williams and Pearsall and who's playing defense, who's playing on the 49ers defense, I don't know. They don't know on a week-to-week basis who's playing defense. So can these two teams, because I want to see the 49ers and the Eagles play a real tough matchup where the guys are actually out there.
Because I remember the one game that we did, and it's what I said earlier. Debo was the X factor. It was the Debo 3-touchdown game. So
yeah. Run angry Debo. Well,
yeah,
he always runs angry, but he was extremely angry that day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is it for the wildcard preview. We'll be back next week for the divisional round. Look out on all our socials. We've dropped our all-pro offense, the all-pro defense is on its way. We had a good discussion on offense. I think there's more discussion to be had on some of these defensive players, but it's been a lot of fun looking at that. And we'll see you next week.